You know, there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hello, this is Gordon Tittsworth from Images of Eden, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, aka the Bodfather, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today it's an honor and a huge privilege to have an awesome guest that's on the line with me right now. But before I introduce him, please get out and go to YouTube and subscribe to the BODS Mayhem Hour YouTube page. That would tremendously help me out a lot, and I'm sure, if you guys go subscribe to it, you won't be disappointed because there's a lot of good stuff that's on there and a lot of good stuff that's still coming down the pipe. That's for sure. Today's special guest, I welcome back Mr. Gordon Tittsworth from Images of Eden, and they have released their 6th studio album EP, Weathered and Torn, and that's out now via Pavement Entertainment. Also check out video single Count to Zero, and we're going to be talking to Gordon about all this good stuff. So, man, welcome back to the podcast, and how you doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me back, man. Things are crazy right now, but exactly what we hoped for.
You're off the road right now from tour. Are you resting up? Are you still trying to plan some more stuff out, or what's going on that path?
Yeah, it's Thursday, and I've been home since Monday, and I'm still not back to normal. I mean, we've been out on the road before, and, it always takes a transition when you get home. But this one's hard to shake off. This was just above and beyond any tour we've been on, and just you come home, and it's like that vehicle that's been in motion for 40 days, it's hard to slam on the brakes. Every night it's like I'm used to just loud music, and I'm used to just, raging crowds and all. And it's just like now it's quiet and it's still. So it's just trying to get back to normal. But yeah, I'm sure I'm going to crash soon. But right now my head's just all over the place and still trying to make it happen. But yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to kind of follow up on and some stuff to wrap up post-tour. So that's keeping me busy as well, man.
So what was so different about this tour that got you, man? Was it just finally getting back on the road after being off for so long?
I think it was just, we had a great tour with Yngwie Malmsteen last year, and obviously our Soul Rise tour with Metal Church and Doro. This one was just more intense, more sold-out shows, just everything about it just felt next level, and just a lot of really cool things happened on the road. It just felt like I can't even describe it. Just it's kind of like the dial got turned up in every way. So it had been only about a year since we'd been out, but 25 shows, and I don't know. Still trying to come down from it. That's all I could say, man. It just felt like next level.
But you know what, man? I've supported you guys for years, and I mean years. And you guys deserve this. I mean, you honestly deserve having this dial turned up, getting your music out there, and everybody known of Images of Eden about time.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we've been working at it hard. I mean, people think we only have 3 albums out. We actually have 6. They started Soul Rise, but there are actually 3 before Soul Rise. So we've been doing this 21 years and with no intentions of ever stopping. So
wow.
Until I'm either dead or deaf or physically unable to do it, it's going to keep happening.
Hey, man, eventually it's got to pay off. You put in that hard work, it's got to pay off.
Absolutely, man.
All right, Gordon, how good does it feel to have this 5-track EP, Weathered and Torn, out now, man? How good does it feel to finally get this out and just be done with it?
It's crazy. Rewind to like the beginning of this year. We got off tour with Yngwie Malmsteen for our Angel Born tour. So we were talking to the label. We're like, okay, what's the next step? We had a few ideas. They had a few ideas, but they said, here's the thing. You guys you're basically, you've proven yourselves here. It's going to be your 3rd full tour. Let's try to hit Europe. So what we wanted to do, a couple of things. We had a couple of ideas with this. First and foremost, they were thinking, the label says, okay, you guys kind of walk the line between melodic and heavy. Maybe if we dial it just a little bit heavier, let's target Europe. And it worked out perfectly because we hadn't written anything since COVID. The Angel Born album was written before COVID started, and we were just tracking it at that time. So this 5-song EP was kind of our response to COVID and what we were all put through. And I use the word put through because most of us aren't really buying what the media is selling. And, we've all had reactions to COVID and, just the lies of the media. I'll leave it at that. But some of us weren't doing well. When you see through the agenda and you see through what they're trying to do, and it just buried my needle into the red. Basically what we're saying here is, it's okay not to be okay. We've all dealt with stuff. And it's also okay to be pissed off because we were. And sometimes still am when we look at what the media is trying to sell us. So this was kind of our reaction to that. And just a little bit of an angrier release. But it all worked out really well because when we made the plan of doing this release, the label said, go in the studio next month and crank it out. I'm thinking, whoa, we've got a lot to do. I've got a lot to write. And so anyway, long story short, finally, we knew we were going on tour the 23rd of September. And I think it was late June was the very last day to turn in this EP for a 9/16 release. And literally, I was wrapping it up the day I had to turn it in, wrap up the final masters, got it to the label, got the release on the 16th. 1 week later, we head out for tour. It's like the perfect storm. Before it was even released, Amazon was already sold out, so they had to reorder copies. So, oh man, it was just great. Everything about it was great.
Oh yeah, but that's crazy though because this album came out in 21 last year, and now here you've got this EP that's out right now. That's crazy to think how much stuff that you guys have pumped out so far.
And it never stops. It's like it's like something I can't turn off. I just keep going. So yeah, when we were done with Angel Born, literally written, we were finished writing for Angel Born. I took maybe a couple of weeks off, but then I just kept going. I felt some new material come out, so I still have probably about 5 or so songs that are kind of in process for the 7th album. So we're going to let the dust settle here for the next couple of weeks, and maybe around Thanksgiving or so, whenever I start feeling the neurons firing, I'll start continuing on with that. So, no idea when that, no time frame at all. This is still in its very early stages, but it feels good to crank out an album 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and a lot of people just do EPs, but I'm glad that you guys are doing it this way because you don't want to oversaturate stuff out there. And I understand bands want to put out EPs and just singles and things like that. I get that. But you get to the point where you can't oversaturate your stuff, at least in my opinion.
I'll tell you this. I was never really a fan of EPs, but after we discussed, hey, let's do this and let's make it a little more amped up, turn the dial up a little bit, worked out great. But, yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of, when we're going to do a release, it's going to be a solid hour plus. And it's going to be a roller coaster. And when you're at the end of that, you're going to need to take a Dramamine or just. Yeah, I mean that's what I want to see. I mean, I want to hear something that's going to take me on a journey, and something I need to walk off at the end.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. And I was the type of guy, and I still am the type of guy that I want that full length. But if a band's only going to give me an EP or something, I'm satisfied with that. But give me that full length, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, that's where I am. Absolutely. And then the next one will absolutely be that.
Yeah. Weathered and Torn is the band's 6th studio installment. Where does this EP rank in the Images of Eden music library, or can you rank it, or can you at all?
I think you're going to get a different response depending on who you talk to. I think some of the guys will say this is the best one yet, but I'll tell you this. My favorite album, Images of Eden, or anything I've ever done for hire anywhere, which is probably about 15 now, with images included. Angel Born is my very favorite album. This
really?
Shirt right here, the Angel Born album. It's my opinion, the best thing we've ever done. It's the most personal thing. It's the most. It was a big healing experience writing that, because I was in a dark place when I started it.
Oh,
but
okay.
I mean that album. No, I don't care really what we do after that. That album is always going to just have this real special place for me. So, but as far as Weathered and Torn, I mean, I wasn't sure how it was going to be received because it's noticeably heavier, but it's just people are eating it up. I mean, the press and the fans are way more favorable than I was expecting. So we're going to keep that in mind when it comes to, writing the next album, because we got a lot of good feedback on Angelborn, but it just seems like people freaked out a little bit more on this one. I guess maybe because, I can't chalk it up to anything other than people just want to be clubbed in the face with a 2x4. It's the only thing I can think of.
It seems like the heavier now, the better. That's the feel that I'm getting. Not like death metal or anything like that, but I just the old school heaviness, the old heavy metal versions. That's what I'm seeing. That's coming more to life now for some reason, and people are eating it up, like you said. Yeah,
and hey, I don't mind it either. I like the heavier stuff. I always have. So
yeah,
sign me up.
All right, man. Would you say this band is hitting its maturity or stride as a band musically finally, or has it happened yet?
Every time I think it's happened, I surprise myself with the next album. I thought we were there with Soul Rise. And then Angelborn, I was like, oh no, this definitely topped Soul Rise. But most people will tell you, hey, here we are now. Yeah. So, and I knew that, this was a little bit of a departure from Angelborn, so we're just going to have to let the chips fall and see how it's received. And if it wasn't well received, well, we know what not to do. But it's being extremely well received. So I'm going to let some just dust settle for a little bit and then kind of feel out where the writing's going to go from here. Because every album definitely has a different snapshot. It's a different kind of moment in time. And, the next one, number 7, will as well. I know after being on tour and just kind of going through everything that the tour puts you through, it definitely inspired some new material, and it's why I couldn't really write before the tour. I said, I'm just going to prepare for tour. I know that when I get home, the whirlwind of everything that's happening and the gamut of emotions that we go through on the road, I know that's going to inspire a lot new material, and it absolutely already is. So, yeah.
Do you like seeing each album take its own growth, speaking wise, because every album's different, but do you like seeing different people gravitate to each album, say like new fans, or do you like seeing the old fans still put their input on it?
It's great to see both. Yeah, we've seen fans that have been with us for a long time. We've seen new fans. Ones we picked up from Angelborn, now following Weathered and Torn. So it seems like it's definitely snowballing, and I love it. I'm extremely grateful to the faithful long-term fans, but always welcoming new fans, and we definitely did that on this tour too. Really good response on the Michael Schenker tour. So we'll just have to let some things happen. This is one of those times it's like we just got home from tour, head's still spinning, haven't even had time to watch the dust settle, but that's something I'm looking forward to this month.
What led the track Count to Zero to be the first song released off this EP? What was it about that had to come out swinging? Because I know there's others on here that could just as well been the first track off this one.
It's funny because Count to Zero, The Dead Me, and Coexistence as an instrumental song were all written for the upcoming, which was going to be the full length. But I just grabbed these because they just seemed to be the ones that needed to go on the EP. Wrote Survivor's Guilt from scratch. Same with Weathered and Torn, and then I had to, put the lyrics to Coexistence. I don't, it's weird because Coexistence was actually going to be the opening track for the full length. That's what I kind of had intended. But the way it worked out, I actually really like because, Count to Zero, it's in your face. It comes right out of the gate. It's got melody. It grabs you. It hits you over the head with a 2x4. I think it just has all of those elements. And the lyric concept and the actual video content are the video really speaks to the lyrics. And basically what it's saying is it kind of mirrors what I went through about 25 years ago. I barely survived an addiction, was 24 hours away from death, and went into the hospital. They said, it's a good thing you came in because you wouldn't have lasted. So this was sort of kind of a reliving that. Here it is 25 years ago, but still at the same time telling people, look, tomorrow's not promised. We've all learned that in the last few years. Do it today. Live today, make that change today. When you say, oh, someday I'm gonna get around to fixing this about myself, or someday I'm gonna make something happen. No, because you know what? I've watched friends pass away in the last couple of years. Friends I would not have expected to pass away. Do it today. Let today be your someday. Let today be that change. And sometimes that change is difficult. Sometimes that change is scary. But if you just take those steps and you get through that difficult point, for whatever it is, you're going to see good things happen at the end. So sometimes it takes courage, sometimes it takes strength and will. But yeah, definitely that song is about making the change that you've been wanting to make. Do it now.
You know what, man? I've taken that to heart. Just that specific line right there. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. I've taken it to heart since the last time. I guess our very first interview, we've talked about that. And then, talking to my mom about some things. I tell my friends I love them because I don't care if they get mad at me or not. I just want them to know, because if I'm gone, then they can't say, well, I just wonder John really cared about me. You know what I'm saying? I want them to know that I did care about them. And I don't care if it makes them mad or not. I'll tell them straight up, I love you. I don't care.
I do the same thing. And you know what? That's one thing about me. I mean, I don't know when I'm going to go. Yeah. I just turned 50. I mean, I feel great, but anything can happen at any time. And if I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow or have a heart attack and die, my friends and my family know how I feel. I never skip a chance to say it. So that's so awesome to hear. And anybody watching this, I would say the same thing. Validate your friends and your family and your loved ones while you can. Something might happen to them. Something might happen to you. If something happened to them, how would you feel if they didn't know how you felt? And even if there's somebody in your life that is holding a grudge against you, or you're holding a grudge against them, or for whatever reason you're not talking, drop it. Who cares?
Yeah, let it go.
Who cares whose fault it is? Apologize. Even if it wasn't my fault, I'm going to say, you know what? I apologize that we haven't been talking, and I don't like that. If it was my fault, I'm sorry, but I just want you to know, this is how I feel, because you just don't know. I mean, and yeah, I have actually a good friend of mine from a long time that I have to kind of do this with. It was his choice not to talk to me, but then who knows what happened. Then he said, well, how come I haven't heard from you? Long story short, if something were to happen to him tomorrow, I'd feel horrible. So, so I'm glad you brought that up, man. That kind of goes along with sort of the theme. And which leads into the second song, Survivor's Guilt. Losing someone, and all the guilty feelings you have. I mean, it should have been me, or I should have done this, or I could have stopped this, or I could have prevented this from happening, or if I had just known, I would have spent more time. Well, don't talk about it. Make it happen.
Do it. Yep.
You got it, man.
Yeah, it's just like these people that say, I love what you do, John, and I wish I could do it. Then do it.
Do it.
Do a podcast. If you love doing podcasts, you love what I do or whatever, you love watching these bands play, you want to play music, do it. I don't care if it takes you 10 years to learn 2 songs, do it. So
they say a 1,000-mile journey starts with one step, and that's absolutely true, man.
There you go. So are these all brand new songs, or were these songs that didn't make Angel Born? Let's talk about that a little bit, man. Are these all brand new?
These are all brand new. Yep. I tapped out everything with Angel Born. There wasn't anything left in the vault after Angel Born, so we just I kind of start from scratch, and it's always kind of cool because after one album and then I start the next one, it's like I start with a brand new Word document and my ideas, and I'm like, I'd literally look at a blank sheet and go, what's this one going to be like? You just have no idea. And then it's just, it kind of pieces itself together, just like putting a huge jigsaw puzzle together over the course of, a long time. But do you ever sit there and write that picture, those words down and go,
That should have been on this last album. What? Okay, I got to fix this.
I've never said that because every time I finished, I've gotten, I've obsessed over it until I could finally say, okay, I'm finished. So I'm done. Now, when I do come up with something, and it has, like, I know, like, Angel Born was sort of I would call Angel Born an extension of Soul Rise, but next level, more refined, more fine-tuned. The writing, the arrangements, the vocal lines, the melodies, the production. So so I could kind of say that, but no, it felt like it felt like the next step. And I know that if anything else that'll come out, it's gonna, even if I think, oh, this could have gone on Angel Born, or this could have gone on Weathered and Torn, I always just say, okay, this is just, there's always something a little different about the feel and the vibe, because between each album, we go through enough stuff that it definitely creates a unique next snapshot in time.
Was there a track that you were working on that totally ended up sounding different than what it was intended to?
Oh, yeah.
I think I said that right.
Actually, a couple of them did. Coexistence definitely did. I had that song as an instrumental, had no idea what I was going to do with it vocally, and I had to change a couple of riffs, and I wasn't really happy with how it was going. And then I thought, because it was supposed to have clean vocals through the whole thing, and then no. Yeah, and then you heard that, and that's probably the one that is totally different. Actually, believe it or not, when we did the remake, or the Triumph cover, Fight the Good Fight, we knew we wanted to remake the song. We just didn't know how we were going to do it. We knew we wanted to do it so that it sounded like our style, so that if you were to listen to Angel Born from beginning to end, it would sound seamless. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what that meant, so I just started laying stuff down and send it to the guys. Am I on the right track? They're like, okay, yeah, keep going. Okay, so then I laid down the vocals. I wasn't really feeling how what was happening at first, and then I mixed them around a little bit, and I sent it to Steve. I said, I don't even know if I want to do this song. It's so much, causing me so much frustration. And they just take a step back, let's work on it a little bit more. Anyway, long story short, after several times through a bunch of stuff, and we finally had that song the way we wanted it, I still wasn't sure. I was like, man, I don't know about this. I don't know how this is going to go over. And, and then Steve and the guys were like, no, this is great. Let's do it. So we shot a video, gave it to the label, and the label said, you guys have to put this on the album. So, okay, that's fine. I honestly was not really sure. I was nervous about how it was going to be received, and it was extremely well received, way more than I expected. At the whole time, I'm just sort of holding my breath going, oh, God. But so that was another one. But, yeah, normally I can hear them in my head as they're being written, and I generally have an idea of the final arrangements, so I can sort of hear it, and I just sort of strive to track what I'm hearing in my head.
See, Gordon, you could be your own worst enemy, man. That song could have not even made.
I'm absolutely my own worst enemy.
See, you had a great song, and that song could not have made this album, and it could have been sitting on the back burner, and then it was a great song. You know what I mean?
Right on.
So good for them to tell you, no, let's put it on there. That's good. That's
exactly.
Good.
Yeah, that's how it is. Sometimes I can't get out of my own way.
What about the pandemic? And I hated that. We're still going through it, and everybody lost people through it, which I don't even talk about that because I still think it was hoodooed. Anyway.
Yeah. It's the whole thing was compliance and control. I'll leave it at that. But as soon as it started, as a matter of fact, right as the weekend everything was shutting down in 2020, we were actually filming the video for Autumn is Burning in Phoenix, and it was about that. It was about lockdowns and martial law, which was weird, a little too coincidental, a little too eerie for what was going on. But we saw through the lies pretty early on, and I try not to get too much into my opinion because I know not everybody agrees. But I'll just put it this way: when everything was shutting down for the pandemic, we went to work. We were filming videos, we were doing promo, we were getting ready for the Angel Born release, and even after that, we just kept going, and we kept writing, and so we never stopped. You know, when you hear bands taking times off, now, I thought, you know, this was a great opportunity. Everything's shut down now. We can't do anything. This is the best time to write and get the vault kind of, you know, get some stuff in the vault ready to go for the next album. So that's pretty much what we did, and it really kept our momentum going, I think.
Do you think that allowed you guys to be more creative than, say, being rushed to make an album?
We never really get rushed. We kind of go on our, the EP was we did have a deadline, but it worked out perfectly. No, I think it allowed us as much time as we needed, because with everything shutting down and talking to the label and our distributor Sony just wasn't. They weren't fulfilling orders. They weren't. There was a time where there was sort of a blackout with album releases. So there was the uncertainty of how long is this pandemic going to last, or is it? You know, are we? You know, is it going to be a year or 2 years, 3 years? No one knew. So we took our time. We didn't rush things. We didn't. You know, we just kept going forward as if we have to prepare for anything to happen at any given time. So just keep going. But yeah, I think it did give us a little more time because we couldn't do anything else in life except sit home.
Right. And you know, I said this to myself. I thought about all these local bands, all these bands that want to get their stuff out there and get heard. That was the perfect time to do it because everybody was on the same playing field, unless you were like a national huge band like Metallica, Anthrax, or I don't know, Rammstein, stuff like that. You know, all these bands that were home should have took time, and a lot of them did, but some of them didn't, and it still blows my mind. But it was on an even playing field. You get their stuff out there more, you know?
Yeah.
Just do it. Everybody was on the same playing field. I can't say that enough.
And that's what we did, because we did the video for Autumn is Burning, and we were going to hold off for the Angelborn release, which, let's see, we filmed that in March of 2020. It was a year later for the Angelborn release, but our label said, no, release the song as a single, get the video out there because it's relevant now. You just did a song about martial law, lockdowns, you know, things like that, and that's what we did, and that was really good for us. Matter of fact, that was a good way we could capitalize on it, where we got that video out, and it did. It kept the buzz going for a little bit longer until we could get Angelborn out, and then it just kind of kept going from there. So yeah, I guess COVID did some good things for us, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you still see growth in this band from album to album? I mean, if there is, what do you see what's the growth of it possibly, if anything?
I think there's a maturity level that's different on each album, whether it's fine-tuning the songs, the production, both, whether it's slightly veering off into an evolutionary direction. The one thing that I said from the very first, you know, as every album's going on, I don't ever want to release the same album twice. Nothing against AC/DC, but AC/DC sounds the same now that they did 30-something years ago. I'm not knocking them. They're legends. Yeah. But you've never seen growth. With every album, we push ourselves. I push myself with the next album. I say I have to outdo the last one. Not necessarily being a competition, but I feel like if my songwriting doesn't improve, if my melodies don't improve, if the production's if we're not improving, I feel like we're just sort of treading water and we're not going anywhere. So I always feel like we're going to push something next level. We're going to push ourselves to the point that do something different we hadn't done before, which we obviously did for Weathered and Torn. I look at Angelborn from Soulrise. Angelborn, the songs were a lot more fine-tuned. There's a lot more diversity. I just feel like they were just crafted much better. And that's what we're going to keep doing. Who knows what's going to happen next? I'm just going to start laying down some stuff, and I'll start to see the big picture start to kind of paint itself, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I'm always going to push it next level. Yeah.
You said the best thing ever. You hit the nail on the head right there. You're always pushing. You're always learning. It's like I've always said, and you probably know this by now. You've been in this game forever. The day that you quit learning or pushing yourself is the day it just gets bored and stale. And I do the same with my questions. I've been doing this for January will be 13 years, and I still worry about my questions. And, kudos to you guys who keep pushing yourself to learn, what else can I come up with as a guitar player? What else can I do that will make this album sound different with my guitar playing?
Yep.
I mean, that right there is more harder than coming to questions from,
Well, I think a lot of it's an internal attitude, because you get some musicians that say, okay, I'm where I want to be.
Yeah.
Good to go. I'm never where I want to be. I always want to improve. I'm always taking criticism. I mean, I go back to the second album, Sunlight of the Spirit. We got a lot of criticism on that. We had some good reviews. We had some bad reviews. But what I did was I looked for patterns of things that I needed to fix. And there were some patterns. Okay, now I know what I need to work on. Same with Rebuilding the Ruins. It was a sort of a more is more album. And, you needed Dramamine at the end of that thing. So I think I just learned from each album, and I'm always coachable too. I listen to what the guys say, and, they have thoughts and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, if you're not coachable, I mean, what are you doing this for? I mean, You're going to stay where you are, and that's it. I mean, I don't care who you are or how good you think you are. There's always somebody that's way better than you are that you can learn from. And I'm always learning from people that I, see are just phenomenal at what they do. I'm always trying to take something away from everything. I think that's the only way you're going to improve. And you have to be open-minded. And you can't be closed-minded to criticism. You have to be able to accept criticism. And I've told people, they say, what advice do you have for somebody in this field? I say, you better be able to handle criticism and lots of it. And if you can't, quit now.
Yep. I've even had it. Trust me, and like you just said, man, I'm always watching other podcasts to see what I can add into mine. What can I do to make it more, not, copycat or anything, but what can I add to spice it up some,
Exactly.
And you're always learning. And like we both just said, if you aren't learning, then what are you doing it for?
Exactly. Yep.
You have to change the game to keep people interested.
Yeah, you do, and you can't put out the same thing. You have to reach. You have to strive for next level. You have to say, what can I do to take what I have right now next level?
Yes,
and
sir.
Sometimes it means pushing yourself, or sometimes it means veering off into a slightly altered direction, which is what we did on Weathered and Torn. Wasn't sure how it was going to be received, but very happy. So right now there are a lot of uncertainties. After the dust settles over the next month or so. So we're just going to have to let things kind of evolve and come out, and I have no idea where it's going to go from here, but we'll see. I can't wait to try. I can't wait to start laying stuff down.
What do you hope everyone takes away while listening to these new songs, or just Images of Eden's music in general, man? What do you hope they get from it?
I hope they get healing. I hope they understand that, we are a band of survivors. We've been through stuff. Addiction, abuse, PTSD. There are a lot of things that we have been through, different members. We're telling a story of survival. We know what people have been through. We've all been through it. We can basically say we're survivors. We've gotten through this, and this. So hopefully there's something that you hear that's going to help you through a dark time, that's going to bring you hope, that's going to lift you, that's going to help you overcome. Now, if that happens and we can melt your face off at the same time, we've won.
Yes, sir. I know that you've had a lot of music growing up, and I know you still have a lot of music today that you still listen to, but do you still have a go-to album, or maybe just a song that you find yourself going back to and listening to from time to time that you just cannot kick out? You've got to eventually go listen to it.
Yeah. I go back to my favorite album of all time, Fate's Warning's Awaken the Guardian. I was 16 years old, and at the time I was listening to Metallica, early Anthrax, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Megadeth, things like that. And then I heard Awaken the Guardian, and everything at that point shifted. That album changed everything about music for me. I never wanted to be a singer until I heard that album. And on tour, I got to meet John Arch, the singer of Fate's Warning, who was my number one vocal influence, musical influence ever. I've been waiting that many years to meet him, and I actually got to perform for him, so it was pretty amazing. I always go back to that album because that album was the number one game changer for me way back when. So kind of going back and putting that on and revisiting that, it just feels like full circle. It's just something I have to do, and I do it fairly regularly, actually.
So meeting him, was it as good as you thought it would be? I mean, did he not disappoint?
Well, I've met various rock stars that I have looked up to. If I could have programmed in my head a best case scenario meeting John Arch, that would have undershot what it was. It was like the best experience ever. I mean, he was the coolest, most laid back, down to earth, humble guy, as real as can be. You know, I mean, he was super cool. We got to talk for a while. Realized we have the same views when it comes to a lot of things, and which doesn't surprise me. But it was really weird. I'm talking to him, and he was so easy to talk to. I forgot who I was talking to at first. You know, I'm like, I've waited so many years to talk to him, and I thought I'd be crazy fanboy, but no, he was so easy to talk to. It was great. He signed my laminate, and I hooked him up with some stuff. I said, man, I would love for you to listen to this. And anyway, it was better than I had expected. Absolutely awesome.
See, I'm glad that when you got to meet the person that influenced you a lot, you didn't trip over your tongue or have or have a Chris Farley moment when he interviewed Paul McCartney on Saturday Night Live. So do you remember when you recorded the Beatles albums? Yes, I do, Chris. Yes, I do. So at least you didn't have that going on, because I've had that moment before. Trust me, it's not cool. It's not cool.
He was super cool. Just never know. Yeah, I can't even say anymore. Absolutely good. He's an awesome guy.
Has Images of Eden met your expectations so far? Has it met your expectations or went above and beyond?
I have to say, when I look back to 2001, when the first album, I did it with a studio drummer, all my expectations were, I wanted to get out there. I wanted to one day be doing this, but knowing what I knew about the music business and what I had learned even several albums in, to get to this point, I wanted it. I hoped it would happen. I was always going to strive for it, but realistically, the majority of bands don't get to this point. So I'm just grateful for everything that comes our way. I mean, we've now been on 3 major U.S. tours with international acts, and we've charted on radio. I mean, we're the real thing. The thing that blew my mind, I think, was this tour more than anything, where it felt like it was next level. Musicians, vocalists that I've looked up to for years and sometimes decades are now coming to our shows as peers.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was probably the coolest thing that could have happened for me to say, all right, we're a little bit next level now. Bands that I've listened to for many years are now coming out to our shows and giving us compliments and, saying, hey, you guys are right up here with whoever. And it's just, you couldn't ask for anything more. That's validation when international veteran musicians are complimenting you and coming out. That's just really, was the big aha moment for me, I think.
So let me put you on the hot seat for just a minute, my friend.
Oh, I love it. Make it happen.
So I know there's bands and stuff that you looked up to when you were growing up, just like the guy that you met for the vocalist. What about now, since you are in that seat, and Images of Eden is that band for certain people who allows them to escape or makes them feel like they belong or makes them feel like they have a friend? And it's sad that we have, it's great that we turn to music, but to feel like you have a friend, there's a lot of mean people out there in this world, but what's that mean to you all, that somebody can look to your music as that?
It's the best thing we could ever hope for. Anyone and we've had fans tell us, we've had a plenty of testimonials. Somebody said, we've gotten them through a hard time. We've lifted them up. 3 people have actually used the term, you guys saved my life.
Oh, wow.
They all have, and I, when that happens, man, I don't take that lightly. I say, please talk to me.
Yes.
I have to know. And if it's doable, come out to a show. I'm going to meet you. And I've met them all. That's pretty intense, man, because they've all had their own specific stories. But when you hear them and you realize that they're telling the truth, what better compliment could we have ever gotten?
Yeah.
I mean, when we had a fan, we were outside of the club that we were playing in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for about 3 weeks ago, and waiting in the van. There's a lot of hurrying up and waiting. When you get to the club, you sit and you wait for it's time to load in. Then you load in, then you sit and wait. Then you get ready and sit, and there's a lot of waiting. So we're sitting out in the van, and this guy comes up. Eric Mulvane, our bass player, is standing outside. This guy comes up, is talking to Eric. Eric kind of opens the van door, says, "Gordon, you might want to come out here." I come out, and this guy's got a demo CD that I signed 19 years ago. I signed it for his dad. Wow. Apparently, I signed it for his dad to Chris. And then I looked at it. I said, "Yeah, that's my signature." And it was a 3-song advanced track from our Sunlight of the Spirit album. I don't even have any more of those. I haven't seen that CD in 19 years. And he said, "I've been waiting 19 years to see you guys live. I've been a fan since this CD, and I've been waiting 19 years." I said, "Well, you're coming in. We're going. It's somebody like that who's waited 19. I waited 16 years to see Fate's Warning, and I thought I was going to break down like a little girl.
Yeah.
So I mean." Anyway, so this guy was really cool. We hung out with him, took some pictures, and he came back to our Cincinnati show, helped us load gear. So yeah, man, when they're I know how I felt when I was that kid, and being just, I guess, old enough to go see bands play, and whenever that was back in the 80s when you could just cut the arrogance with a knife in any place you were. So having really cool musicians back when I was 16, 17, 18 were kind of far and few between. But when I met them, I mean, I just was blown away, and it was really impactful for me. So I remember that too. So when somebody has a testimonial, or they really wanted to meet us, or they've been a fan and they haven't seen us, I mean, we do our best to take care of our fans, because without them, I mean, we wouldn't be doing this. It's that simple. They should be the most important people in our world. Them and our press people. And that's why I always say, people like you, John, and all of our radio people, and I mean, it's you guys that are helping us get out there. You're our biggest allies. See, between you and the fans, man, you're like everything.
Yeah. I try my best, my friend. I do this for the labor of love.
Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Yeah, I love it. And, I'll get there one day. As I always say. So,
it's not an achievement. That's one thing I learned. It's you think here's where I am. I'm going to a destination. You might not ever see the destination. This whole thing is a journey.
That's very true.
We're just loving the journey. So you just have to love the journey, and each new step, each new person that you meet. Oh, I've been waiting to interview that guy forever. Finally, yeah. So, yeah, just love the journey, brother.
If I could just turn one person that listens to this podcast on to you guys, I've done my job.
My man.
And I hope that other people realize that. Just if you help one band to get one more fan to their music, you've done your job. Or
that's right.
Or to go to their website and buy a shirt, buy a CD, buy some stickers, buy a patch, whatever. Again, you've helped that band. So there, I'll say that.
Absolutely, man.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up my good buddies, Images of Eden's new 6th album. What's EP? 5-track EP, Weathered and Torn. It's out right now via Pavement Entertainment. And you also want to check out their video single, Count to Zero. You want to get out and do that right now. So, Gordon, my friend, how can folks stay in touch with you guys as always, buy some merchandise, tour dates, all this good stuff when you go back on tour, and especially pick up this EP? How can you do that, sir?
Absolutely. Well, we made our website a one-stop shop, www.imagesofeden.com. It links everywhere. It links to social media. It links to our online store. It links to Amazon, iTunes, everything, and everything you could need. All of our videos, streaming, lyrics, the whole 9 yards. one-stop shop. Definitely check us out there. There's a lot of information there, so you can definitely spend some time and get lost in it.
Everybody get out and check out the Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link. And you definitely want to subscribe to our YouTube link because, like I said, we got a lot of great stuff coming down the pipe for you guys and gals, plus giveaways, things like that. And you definitely want to get out and check out Images of Eden. I don't care what album that you pick up. Just pick something up by these guys, and I guarantee you'll love at least 2 songs off of it. I'm going to throw that out there. You'll love at least 2 songs by these guys. Trust me. And just give them a shout-out. Tell them what you think about it, and just give them a fair shot, folks, please. Gordon, my friend, as always, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, and I love having you all on here, and I'm a big supporter of you guys, and you know that.
Well, John, it's awesome to come on, man. I really appreciate you, brother. And as always, man, it's great talking to you, and would love to come on again.
Thank you very much, my friend. Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. And just please come back, folks. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.